bravefathers.com.
So, what's the difference between going to family court and going to see a hooker? Because you pay, you have to pay either way. You get fucked either way. When you go, I know, the hooker lets you keep your ball. That's the difference. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me at the Brave Fathers Show. My name is John Paul, and I'm from bravefathers.com. Thank you so much. We try to have fun in these painful times, in this difficult situation when we find ourselves as brave fathers in family courts. And today, we are going to look at a very heavy topic, right? So we started on a light note, but we are going to go deep. Pause. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves today is there a bias in family courts? And are the courts essentially corrupt, right? So you hear a lot of people saying that the system is broken, that things are not the way they should be, and that the courts are not fit for the purpose. Now, I have a different position from that. And we are going to look into how things evolved and how I see things. And I think a lot of people who are honest and have had a lot of experience with family courts, their own experience in working with clients, will hold a similar view. But instead of just rushing and jumping into a conclusion, I want to break things down. So I'm going to show you several clips today which demonstrate the kind of narrative that I want you to consider as you go through family courts. Because family courts are dominated by narratives. It's not about facts, it's not necessarily about the truth, it's about the narrative that is being told. And so the system has a way it works, right? And most people think of the family court, they think of the courtroom. So they think of, the room where you sit in, your opponent is there, the judge is there. If you are representing yourself, you're by yourself, or you may have somebody helping you, or you have a lawyer. The other side has the same. There will be a legal advisor, perhaps social workers, bailiffs, judges, of course, magistrates, Kafka's officers here in the UK. And we have other people when you have the wider picture, such as the women's organizations, the domestic abuse experts, expert witnesses. So that includes clinical psychologists, clinical psychiatrists, and the various experts, medical experts that contribute to a decision, perhaps your witnesses. So it's a whole big ecosystem. The room, the courtroom itself, is just a microcosm. Your hearing is just everything coming together, all the components playing on a stage. So essentially, you could look at the courtroom as a stage. It's not a real thing, but you participate and it has real life consequences. Now, I have confirmed that there is a bias against fathers. However, you may want to ask yourself, where does that bias come from? Why is there a bias? And is it really a bias? And a deeper question is, have you contributed to that bias unknowingly? You see, if you don't understand what I'm about to share with you today, no matter what the outcome of your court proceeding is going to be, you will still find yourself hurting. You will find yourself bitter, you'll find yourself angry, because you will feel like you were part of a story, but you didn't know what the plot was. And a lot of fathers feel that way. On the other hand, if you do understand the narratives that I'm going to share with you and how they happen to affect your case, you will also stand a better chance of winning. And regardless of your outcome, you will go on to have a better life. I'm not saying that the pain of not seeing your child or missing your child, is just going to disappear, because it doesn't, but it is not going to make you suffer the way you would if you don't understand these things. A lot of fathers lose because they refuse to look at the hard truth. So look at it this way. If you are on a stage, which the courtroom is essentially a stage, and if you think about it, it's like a set. It's designed in a certain way. The judge will wear certain clothes. People will speak in a certain way. There are certain protocols, procedure. So it is a stage. But if you don't know the script to the play, how can you participate? So again, there are real life consequences, but you have to understand how it all came to be. If you don't, you'll be lost, and you'll be operating on the wrong premise. And the wrong premise on which fathers operate is they try to seek justice from the family courts. And family courts are not a place to find justice. They are the place where you fight to see your kid. And I'll tell you a lot today. I'll tell you some of the obstacles that you find, which are very important. So make notes and pay very careful full attention. So I'm going to play the first clip. Let me just set this up here. I'm going to play the first clip and listen carefully to the person who is speaking. So I'm going to let him speak for about a minute, and I'll tell you how it fits into the narrative. So we are going to build this step by step, okay? So we are going to start from the moment he met his ex and they entered a relationship. And I want you to think about how you met your ex and how you entered into that relationship as you watch this and as I speak afterwards, because that is going to help you understand how the story was built, and it will all make sense in the end. So let's watch the first clip.
Unfortunately, the family court system in this country is not fit for purpose. Unless you've got tens of thousands of pounds to spend on lawyers and barristers, you're going to end up going to court representing yourself. And if you do that, you're going to be at a real disadvantage. And even if you do that, and you do it successfully, and the judge orders that you should spend time with your child and give you a child arrangement order, if the other parent doesn't comply, the courts are so reluctant to actually enforce the orders through fines, imprisonment, or changing over of residency, that you end up in this long cycle of going back and back to court, social services reports, CAFCAS reports, all different kind of reports, that ultimately that's not in the child's best interest, and they get harmed by it. That's why I decided to stop trying to see my son. And this is why so many people stop trying to see their children, they stop trying to go to court, and ultimately why so many people end up taking their own lives.
Okay, so he said quite a few things. So notice, he said he went through the process, actually got to see the child, and the mother did not comply, right? And he said that ultimately he decided to walk away because he thought it wasn't worth it going back and forth. So if you are here, I'm assuming you're a brave dad, therefore you're not going to give up, because this is not for everybody. This is only for those of us who are going to fight and keep fighting as long as we have to. I do understand it's difficult. I know it's painful. I know it's hard. I feel that pain too. However, we are here and we are going to keep going. But he did say that the courts are reluctant to enforce orders, which is true. But they will enforce it if the mother keeps going. So, by the way, none of this of what I'm saying today is legal advice. I'm just giving my opinion. I'm not qualified to give you legal advice. These are my opinions. But looking at different cases that I've been involved with, and also just reading the case law, the courts do take it seriously if you keep going. But you have to have it in you not to give up. You must have it in you not to give up. So that is the ending point of the court process for a lot of people. And I'll come back to say a few things about this again. But I want to show you another video. And that marks a very important milestone in everybody's situation. So let's rewind a bit and take a look at this.
You think rejection hurts? Try getting rejected by your future wife 7 times. Let me tell you something. I tried to shoot at this girl in high school, and she told me no. Then I shot again, she told me no again. Shot again a couple years later, and she told me no for the 7th time. But I kept showing up, not on some creepy stuff, but on some consistent, confident, and undeniable type energy. See, this same girl taught me something before I even stepped in cell. Every time she told me no, I learned how to listen better, adjust my approach, and add value without forcing it. No doesn't mean never, and no really don't hurt. It just means not right now. A couple years later, I ended up marrying that woman, and that's the same woman that taught me the best sales training in my life. She taught me the real art of closing: persistence, patience, and presence. Oh, if you can keep your composure after being told no, you can literally close anything.
So if you think like this guy, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Here is the thing. So think back to the time you met your ex. Perhaps you didn't try to get her to be with you 7 times, but perhaps you did. Perhaps you tried to convince her to be with you, to be your girlfriend, to sleep with you, to be your wife or whatever, right? And notice that this guy feels proud that over several years, he proposed 7 times before she said yes to him. Now, to a lot of guys, to a lot of people, that seems normal, right? Oh, he's just persistent. It's what you do. She was playing hard to get. She was hard to get. Maybe she's so beautiful. It's difficult to get her. Blah, 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 blah. Right? But now imagine this guy finds himself in family court. What is he going to say then? Because he will find himself in family court. He seems to be doing well financially, and he kept pressurizing her. Most likely, he was taking her to nice dinners, buying her gifts, probably bought her an expensive ring, and so on and so forth. Right? We've all done similar things. But he was essentially chasing after an imaginary female. She was imaginary because he doesn't know who she is. He doesn't know who she is. Just like you didn't know who your ex was. I didn't know who mine was. I didn't know her. Right? So we keep going after these females, and we don't know who they are. And can see people jumping at me and coming at me like I'm wrong. But if I'm so wrong, then why is she stopping you from seeing your kids? Why is she making false allegations against you? Why is she lying about you? Why is she smearing you to people? Why is she destroying your reputation? Why is she trying to take as much money as she can from you? Why is she doing that? If she was this angel, this perfect person that was worth chasing after, if she was worth it, then why are you in this position? And I had to ask myself that question, because one of the first steps is to understand how the narrative is formed. Because tonight, I really hope that you see the pattern. I really hope that you see the pattern of what's going on. So notice the first guy. The first guy did not persevere for his kid. He did not keep fighting for his child. Right? The other guy, he wanted to get the vagina, so he kept going. He kept pressing for it. And again, people will argue that there's nothing wrong with that. If there isn't, then why are you here? If it was the right process, then why are you in family courts? So obviously something is wrong somewhere along the way. And this is what people are not getting, because the bias is created by us males putting the female on a pedestal, investing so much energy into her, and then treating her like she's some kind of superior being. We did that. I did that. You did that. I hope you stop doing that. But now, when we get to court and the court is treating her like some kind of superior being, all of a sudden we want to flip the script. We want to change it. We don't want for the court or for the judge or for the social workers, for the people involved to see her that way. But we did that. That motherfucker did that, what, 7 times for, what, 3, 4 years, whatever it was. How many of us chased down girls after an argument when she said she was walking away? Don't you wish you let her keep walking? Don't you wish you walked when you should have? You see, and it is not about being bitter about a relationship that went wrong. This is about being pragmatic because the society has a very unhealthy view of relationship. And the way we look at relationships is wrong. And it's getting worse and worse because chasing women and putting them on a pedestal is not the right way to be in a relationship. To be in a situation like he is, where he follows the woman's lead, is wrong. We want to say it's wrong for the man to lead, to be, you know, to be in charge. But if you were in charge, wouldn't your child have a complete family? Wouldn't you have your children's mother by your side helping you to do whatever your vision is for the world? And your children follow as well? You see, we've been trained to think that pursuing a woman is somehow noble, that chasing after her shows that you are worthy. It shows that you value her. And you may value her, but it doesn't mean she has that value. And clearly, if you're in this position, she does not. And I don't like when fathers say, oh, but she's a great mother. How is she a great mother when she's depriving the children of their father? How is she a great mother if she's forcing the father to give money that she's going to spend on herself, not on the kids? Like, we have to start being honest about what's going on. But we also have to accept that we started it. We have to accept that we chased down this female, that we kept, calling her, speaking on the phone for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, thinking that that's love. That's not love. That's neediness. And when you get into the family court, the psychology of the system, because there are psychologists who work for the government, the same way you have psychologists coming into your case or specific cases as part of a Part 25 application in a child's arrangement proceeding. The same way you have an expert come in and do an analysis, you don't think the government has psychologists working for them? You know, I was going to put links to certain studies by different governments, about certain things like this, but I decided not to. A lot of the government workers are sloppy, so they upload things online, and then you can download them, to read the studies. But they do profile people like you and me. The system is built by design. But the system can only reflect the culture of the people in that system. And in our system that we have, our society, we do not value men. We do not value family. You don't have anybody marching for all the broken families. Every quarter, around 13,000, 15,000 cases or more get started in the court, right? At least. So that's over 60,000 cases a year. And then many of those cases run for at least a year, many for 2 years, 3 years, some go longer, 4 years, and so forth. So as we speak, there are hundreds of thousands of children, millions of children who don't have fathers in their lives. As we speak, nobody is marching for that. Nobody. Well, there was a guy who did one walk the other day. Can't recall his name. But that's it. You see some fathers complaining online, but that's it. People want the courts to change. But why would the court treat her differently from the way we treated her? The court doesn't know her. The court assumes she's a perfect mother. She's a perfect person. You assume that. I assume that. So why would the court suddenly come in and say, oh, sorry, you made a mistake. We are here to intervene to help you? That's not how the world works. And because the society does not care about broken families, in fact, I would argue they want broken families. And I'll show you some other clips in a moment. Because a lot of guys don't understand how deep this goes. Like, even within our time today, we don't have enough time to go into all the things that go into this. This is like scratching just a little bit of it. It's like, you know, you have a keyhole and you just see a bit through it, and like you look here, you see a little bit of what's going on, but you're not really seeing the whole picture. You're not seeing what's going on in the room. And there are many rooms to look at. So it's a lot of work, and that's why I'm here to help you with shortcuts. But I cannot help you, and you cannot help yourself until you realize the painful truth that it was what you did that put you in that position. And fathers hate to hear it. But the pain of understanding it, when you grieve it, when you let it process, when you process that pain, that's when you start gaining the strength to be effective in family courts. Because the opponent's lawyer knows your psychology. They know you are hurt because the illusion is getting broken of who she was or who you thought she was. They know you're hurting because you can't see your children. They know when you hear the false allegations, they make you angry. They know this. They know what to say to annoy you, how to put that extra in the voice to make you go crazy. They know all this. Not everything the opponent's lawyer says is something that the judge cares about. A lot of it is said just to throw punches at you. But until you understand the full narrative, you will not be able to maneuver those things. It is not as simple as learning what the law is, because the court will adjust its interpretation of the law to fit what the courts want. And essentially, the court wants to have its rule. The court wants what it says to stand. And the court must fit with the current directive. We have had our prime minister say they're going to have violence against women and girls, right? They're not going to reduce the violence against males. They don't care about that. But they want the statistics to show that they are doing something about women and girls. So if that's the case, then your case is much harder to win if there are false allegations, because they want to show on paper that they have done something. You see, that is very difficult to overcome. Not impossible, but very difficult. But again, just like you thought she was perfect, that's the same assumption that is in court. And that is the society's view on females, that they are innocent victims at the hands of men. So that's why, as a father, you have to arm yourself with all the knowledge, all the understanding, all the insight you can get in order to get the best outcome in your case. I am not here to change the whole system. That is not my goal at all. My goal is for those of us who are willing to put in the work, for those of us who are willing to understand and do introspection and do self-reflection, for those of us to win. And those people who don't want to put in the work and make the effort, I am not concerned with them. You see, the majority can lose. I'm not saying that's right and I want it that way, but there will be always a small percentage that will get a good outcome, because the court cannot feel that it's completely unfair. Even the worst judge will sometimes give a father a break, or at some point. So we are going to look at another clip, and then we are going to dive deeper into this topic. So let's look at this one.
Guys, if you want a healthy relationship, it's all about the small things, yeah? Like that. Guys, I got about 3 seconds, yeah? Don't get married, don't get relationship. They're gonna fuck your life and they're gonna take all your money.
Why did you stop there?
Oh, I just to check my tire pressure.
So this is a typical coward, the typical average male that we have today. And he's saying the same thing I'm saying. I'm sure this was made for fun. But he's saying the same thing. You get fucked over. And it's only half truth. You will get fucked over if you behave like that. Because he's not able to be honest with this female. He's not able to say, look, I want to say something. Or he feels it's not right for him to be in that marriage. He's afraid to walk away. And people say, oh, but the kids by my property. But you are here and your kids and your property are taken from you. You see, that's what guys are not understanding, which frustrates me. The thing you're scared of will happen anyway. And if you're going to live, last time people pretend to be proud of, 30 years in misery, being disrespected, then I can't help you. And obviously, that's not you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't be here if I believed, we are worth so little that we should just be disrespected and used for our money, our protection, and so forth. But you see the way he's acting, that's how a lot of people behave. And I've done that mistake, and I know you have. You want to say something to her, you don't. You want to be yourself, you can't. Why? Why can't you be yourself? Oh, she'll leave. Let her go. Again, you are here. She's keeping your kids from you. She's taking your money. She's taking your property. Wouldn't it have been better if you let her go? If you let her walk? You see, people think I'm an asshole. And yes, I am. But that is not why I'm saying to do these things. I'm saying to do these things because you are an adult. We are teaching males to be infantile because children are scared of their parents. Yes, I don't want my kids to talk back to me. But I'm not scared of what a female thinks. And neither should you be. But again, let's bring it back to court. You see the courts pussyfooting around the female. Right? We see that all the time. I've seen situations where a female is outright abusive in a courtroom, disrupting, disrespectful, and people still pussyfoot around it. Some was, oh, she's upset, try to cater to her feelings. Have you not done that before? Ask me if I have done that. Ask. Yes, I have done that. So when the court is doing that, why are we surprised? Why are we shocked that the court is behaving the exact same way we have been behaving? Because it's not just you and me, it's millions of males doing this, thinking it's normal, that it's okay. That this is the only way to relate to a woman. And if I had not had women who don't act this way, who are respectful, with whom you can't be yourself, who will spend money on you, then I would be thinking the same. And at some point, I did think that way. Until I started realizing that, wait a minute. I'm a man. I'm important too. I matter. I'm a human being. I'm a person. I'm worth something. Why is she more important than me? She's not more important than me. I'm more important than me. I have to take care of myself, right? All the girlfriends you've had, all the girls you're in love with and so forth, where are they now? Where are they now? So you have to realize that you are the most important person in your life. And I remember one of my mentors teaching me that, and I couldn't grasp it. He used to say, look, you are the most important person in the relationship. And I was like, how? But then I realized you take care of yourself, she takes care of herself, you come together. Well, you know what I mean. You come together and form a unit and you work together. and you have a vision and you lead. You go on about your life the way you want to do it. If, let's say, one of my girlfriends says to me, "Oh, I don't want you to be doing this show. I find it offensive." Guess what? She's out of my life. I'm not gonna stop doing this. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna help you because she doesn't like it. I'm not gonna change. The world does not stop for a heartbreak, right? But the same way, you cannot stop for the world. So the way the guy was, hiding his true feelings, his true thoughts, is what we have done, and that's what brought us here, and that's what also drives the courts. I hope you are seeing the pattern. I hope you are seeing the parallel. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. If you think it's not the same thing, think about it deeply. What's the difference really? You will say the court is not supposed to do that. It's not. But are you supposed to do that? No, you're not, but you did it. The world is run by human beings, and human beings do wrong things. People hurt each other, right? The way you are being hurt, maybe your child is being alienated from you, is being turned against you by the very person that you loved, and you showed all this care that you tried to be careful for. Again, when I hear all these stories, it's always I cooked, I cleaned, I did all the things I was supposed to do. Why do you think you were supposed to do them? And when you trace it back, that's what you were trained to do. It was what the society told you. But the society didn't tell you that won't stop you from being in a family court, fighting for the children that you take care of, that you hear false allegations of things you never did, that you would not even remotely dream of doing. And when you've proved the false allegations wrong, either, by working with a solicitor, by yourself, or using my services, you prove them wrong and untrue, and what happens? Nothing. Now they say, oh, the child hasn't seen him for 9 months now, so it will be disruptive, right? It will be disruptive to start contact right away. So let's do only an hour or two every fortnight or some other nonsense. So ultimately, the system gets its outcome, which is to separate you from your children, which is wrong. But I'm telling you that you are being set up before you even meet this female. And I'll show you a couple of clips now of women talking. And next time, I'll show you some other clips as well, and as we keep working. Because I want you to really understand that it's a world that exists that you didn't know about. It's like the Truman Show. There's a whole system around you, right? Not specifically you, but every male who thinks like this. And that's why it annoys me when people say, oh, you don't know me, you don't know my situation, you don't know my wife. But what's the difference between you and all these clips? You did some version of it. You didn't have to do the exact same thing, say the exact same words, but you did some kind of version of putting her on the pedestal. You've stopped, you don't want to do it anymore, or maybe you do it, because I've seen fathers do it still. I've seen fathers trying to get back with the same woman that is lying about them in court and smearing their reputations. I've seen fathers trying to get back with them. This is hard. I've seen fathers trying to get back after all the trouble. They still want to get back with her. So if so many males do it, why would the court change? What is the incentive for the court system to be any different from the way it is right now? If we are not willing to change, if you meet your next girl, and look, it's okay to admit, you know what? I really don't know how to meet women, right? At one point, I didn't know either, until I learned so much about it that I became a dating coach and decided, to stop doing that. It's not the kind of business I wanted to be in because for several reasons. One of them is I don't have patience, for that because a lot of guys hold on too much to the idea that they are worth less than a female. What do these people say? The red pill. They say something like the woman is born with her value, a man has to earn his value. Nonsense like that. And the clips we saw cater to those beliefs. And then you can't complain about the system doing something if you are still doing the same thing. So if you meet a new woman and you put her on a pedestal, then don't be angry that the court is doing the same. Let's look at the next clip. Let's understand this narrative better. So I'm going to play part of it because it's quite long. So I'll play you about a minute and then we'll discuss so you understand.
Oh, and not only will we remove your children, if you're on state benefits and you're dependent on benefits, all your benefits are getting stopped because you don't have the children in your care anymore. If you're in a council house, you now need to leave because you do not have your children. We're not your social worker, we're your children's social worker. You were put through court, people have had their children taken from them, you feel like your child has died, you grieve your child, you go to contact and you don't even want to bond with them anymore in case they take your world from you, and you are scared and you have no support. Tell me, all these people that know so much what social services do and we're all lying and they have to have reasonable cause, when they remove the child, because all of you are saying there must be a reason, what support's there for them parents? Well, if they've stopped their benefits, well, how are they going to get to these court hearings and contact? Well, if they took their home off.
So if you listen to what she said, she's essentially saying that the social services took her kids from her. And it's true, it's a painful process. You have to grieve. And she said several important things that you have to bear in mind. And this is very important in the psychology of the females that are in family proceedings. Obviously, this is a public law case because it's a social workers dealing with it, a local authority, from what I'm guessing. But notice that her focus is on what? On the benefits that are being taken away from her. On her flat being taken away or whatever house she had. And she says, you don't even want to bond with your child. Let's start from there. So I want to bring this to fathers first and foremost, because that's why it's important. A lot of fathers don't want to use the contact center because they find it humiliating, they find it annoying that they are being supervised, and perhaps they feel disrespected. The contact center gives you the opportunity to build on the contact you have with your child. I know it's not the best, it's not ideal, but it's what you've got. So if you love your child, you do the best you can, as much as you can. You do what you can do for your child. You have to stick in there, right? And I've had social workers say, no contact with the kids. So I can appreciate the pain and agony of that. However, you cannot then turn around and focus on the money. But now we are getting closer to why there is a bias in family courts. We are getting closer to the understanding of it. Because in reality, this is, for a lot of people, for a lot of females, a financial strategy. This one says you can't bond with your child because they'll take your child away from you, your world from you. If it's your world, then you are, or you connect to your child. I don't believe her one bit. And any mother who takes the children away from the father out of spite, I don't believe her either. It's just selfishness and abuse. So once the financial incentive is gone, these mothers don't care. They really don't care. The children are social status to them. They are means of getting money. They are bait. They are the leverage the woman has over you. They are the excuse the government has through the family courts to take money from you and give to her. Imagine a situation. So let's say, I don't know how many live cases there are right now. I should have checked actually. But let's say there's 100,000 cases live right now. So let's say since COVID till today, let's say there's about, say 300, 400,000 cases, right? So each of them has a mother and a father. So let's say they gave 50-50 to 400,000 people over the past 5 years, which they didn't. But let's say they did that. What would happen is you'd have 400,000 females who cannot take money from their fathers. That means those females would have to go to work. What work are they going to do? What job are they going to do? Even if they are qualified for a job, what job are they going to do? Where is the job for 400,000 females? All of a sudden, right? And the truth is, many of them don't want to work. She's saying they've taken her benefits. Get a job, start a business, do something. I'm sure there's plenty of guys who even want to date her and give her money. So, but that's the mentality. So, people think the bias is just hatred for fathers. Excuse me. My argument is that the fathers' self-hatred, this lack of respect of themselves as men, is our lack of valuing ourselves. So, like the first guy, he just says, "Oh, it's too hard. I'm leaving my kids." I cannot accept that. But that is what drives it. Because now, even though he's walked away, if he gets a good job or starts a successful business, that female can still make a claim to his property, his money, because she has the kids. So it's a guarantee for her that she has some financial security. Because you see, the government promises a lot of things, but how are they going to deliver it? They can't. Or can they? Because if you ask her out 7 times and she says no, while she's dating other guys, while she's sleeping with other guys, right? That she's saying yes to. If you spend your hundred money to buy a ring, they say, well, 2 or 3 times your monthly salary or whatever bullshit. If you got down on a knee to ask a woman to marry you, if you censor yourself, you can't speak how you want to speak because of a fucking female, how do you then expect the court to act or treat you any differently? So if this woman that we just watched is looking at her benefits being taken away, it's the same way your child's mother, your children's mother is looking at this like, whoa, I better win. If not, I can't get money from this guy. Or worst case scenario, I can't have a clean break to meet a new man. I don't respect him. I don't value this guy. I don't want him to have input in the children's lives. I want him gone. I want him done. And she's willing to do all these false allegations and lies just to keep it going. She gets attention. She is important in court, you see. So when the women complain, their thing is, oh, the guy can still see the kids. And their definition of abuse is very loose, and the definition is getting looser. That's why you really have to understand what you're doing if you want to win in your family court case. But you have to start changing your mentality. And the first step is to realize, whoa, the way the court is treating her like she's special, I was treating her that way too. I always put women above me because that makes me a good guy. And there's people who hate me for saying otherwise. People who hate me for saying, no, a man leads, period. I don't need to explain it to you. If you ask nicely and you want to learn, I will teach you. I will help you out. But it's not something that you can force me to explain to you. And it's difficult for guys to accept it. And I'm not saying convince the court. Obviously, I'm not going to fight with a judge about this because that would be dumb. But it's like, again, like a screenplay. You know what's in the play. You don't jump in between and say, oh, here's what they're going to say next. But you know what they're going to say next. So you know which role to play. You know which lines to give. Because there are patterns. Just like you watch these clips and you've seen similar patterns in your life and your friend's life, if you're being honest, it's the same patterns in court. And the same way she's thinking of her money, the same way every abusive mother in court, stopping the children from seeing the father, lying about the father, throwing false allegations, she's thinking about her money too. Well, your money that she thinks she deserves. You understand? So it goes really deep. So the bias in the courts is based on this culture. If we had a culture where people are like, oh, we value family, we value the father, the mother, and the children, the heterosexual nuclear family, and a community that is built around it, then we'll have a different position. But we don't. We say, oh, it's okay for the father not to be there. Right? You meet a new girl, oh, my ex-boyfriend is an asshole. Yeah, I'll show you that I'm better. Until she calls you the asshole, and then the cycle continues. And the courts just reflect that culture. So yes, there is a bias, but that is because that is what the society thinks, and that's what people comply with. I want to show you something else that's very important. So check this out.
Protecting your child is not parental alienation, and the law is very clear about this. The Family Justice Council guidance says that when a child is reluctant, resistant, or refusing contact, the court must ask why, not immediately blame the protective parent. Children may be responding to fear, to trauma, to abuse, or coercive control. That's not manipulation, that's self-protection. Raising concerns, setting boundaries, and following professional advice is good parenting. It is not alienation. Labelling protection as alienation silences survivors and harms children. I'm Melanie Bridgen, family law solicitor. Follow me for survivor-informed family law and share this video so that other parents know their rights.
Okay, so you saw that. And what you should know is your ex saw that, your children's mother saw that. And so many females have seen that. Now, you are here, so I can only assume you are a good, loving father, right? So now, why wouldn't a malicious female, an abusive mother, say, you know what, I'm gonna make it look like the kids don't want to see the father? Because that works in her favor. And if you have people like this who put that online, encourage it, rationalize it, explain it, justify it, say, oh, it's not parental alienation. It is parental alienation, because what she's not saying is make your child say he or she doesn't want to see the father. And then the court must look at it, and then you create another level of problems in the family courts. So that is just one example of what women are told all the time. And when they talk to their friends, the difference between them and us is that they actually share more tips, more advice about what to do before they even get into the situation. And then you have all these cruel lawyers who have no souls, who would teach these negative tactics to mothers to further abuse the children, to further abuse the fathers, and pretend, oh, it's not alienation. Yes, it is alienation if you alienate the child. And often abusive mothers alienate the children against their father. That's what abusive mothers do. It's part of their abusive strategy. It's part of their abusive tactic. So you have to understand the court is made of different players, right? Like the stage play again, different characters who do different things. It's not just the courtroom. All these things, like the clips you saw, like the solicitor you just saw, and there's other stuff. So I'll be showing you every week, and I'm gonna do breakdowns of these clips as well. So I'll do separate, complete breakdowns of those specific clips that we watched to look deeper into them. But those things are what shape the family courts. All those narratives. So when you understand it, by the time you get to your hearing, it now makes sense because everybody was in on it apart from you. So now that you know this, you can start studying the system. And you start by studying yourself because there is a profile of you, not you specifically, but of the psychology of a father in court somewhere that is used by these women's organizations to teach women how to be more abusive. And people are afraid to say it, so I'm gonna say it. I don't like saying it. I don't feel good saying it. Somebody has to say it. So this female will say this, that if the child doesn't want to see the file, it could be for the child, it could be for any reason. Oh, the child wants to play video games today. The child wants to go to the park. The child wants to play with a friend. Or the child just said it because the child knows that's what the mother wants to hear. The child knows that's what the mother wants to hear. So she says it, or he says it. You understand? And then they use this as an excuse to stop you from seeing the kids when you've not done anything wrong. You spend time, you spend money. And by the way, money and solicitors don't solve your problem because it's understanding, it's strategy. I've gone representing myself against barristers and won. The courts, the good thing perhaps about the courts is it's not about the lawyers because most lawyers are not very good. Most barristers are not very good. They're just loud, but they're not good. They're very dishonest, many of them too. They won't tell you all these things. So when you understand the whole ecosystem, then you know how to move. Look, when I prepare for these sessions, I struggle with what am I going to say? Because there's so many things I want to say, and I will keep saying them. I will go deeper into all these things. And the difficulty I have is knowing that culturally I'm going against the grain. That I'm telling you things that are against your very identity. Perhaps you saw yourself as a protector and a provider and a good man. But that's not the way. The society does not define who a man is. It never has, it never will, it can't. It has attempted, it can show you a symbol of who a man is. But the society can't decide. It's like that culture song, Babylon, you can't study the Rasta man. You can't study the Rasta man. You can't study the man. You know, they try to study you, they try to study me, but because we love our children, we keep looking for ways to fight for them, to do the right thing, not to give up like the first guy that we watched today. So I struggle because I know how it comes across when I say, don't put women on a pedestal. You are more important than the woman. She's responsible for herself. Because there are all these connotations that have been added that makes males right away reject what I'm saying. And to think that I'm saying something that I'm not saying. But I'm not going to explain it today. I'm not going to explain myself today. I'm just saying what it is. Every adult has to prioritize themselves. The cliche we have is what? The airplane. Put on your oxygen mask first. before anybody else. Otherwise, you pass out and you can't help anybody. You see, and that's why I don't want to change the system, because it's not the fight I'm willing to take on. What I want to help is to help you change and to change myself. That I'm willing to do. That is something I can't do. So if you are looking for help, you're looking for someone who's ready to listen to you and is committed to helping you win, and it's not just going to give you the usual bullshit that you get in family courts, then get in touch. What I do is I offer a free 1-hour consultation, no obligation whatsoever. And it's an actual consultation, not a pitch. So just like you came today, I share specifics to your case based on my understanding and knowledge. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a man who went through the system and spent years studying this. And I've helped other fathers, and I want to help you. So a lot of people offer 15 minutes, 20 minutes consultations. That's not enough time to really get into anything. So an hour, I think, is fair. As I said many times, I've had many people help me when I was going through my situation. Many people abandoned me as well, or abandoned ship because they believed some of the false allegations. So good riddance. But many helped me. Many were very kind, including solicitors who were very honest, gave me things, even judges or judiciary, should I say. They'll just give you a tip. They'll just give you a little thing if they see you're an earnest person, because I was really keen on finding a solution. And I spent a lot of time keeping tabs on the case law, learning how things work, learning how to help people. So get in touch. Let's see what specific strategy you will need. Of course, if you choose to take on my services, that's great. If not, if I give you something and it changes your life and your children's life for the better, then we have the world be a better place. So hopefully you understand better how things work, right? I've started putting content on bravefathers.com. So that's one way to reach me. You can reach me on X at Brave Fathers. But now that you understand this, I want you to spend time to think about it, because it's okay for you to reject it at first, because it's a lot. It's a very difficult thing to understand. Perhaps you should watch the whole thing from the beginning. Ask your questions. Ask any questions you have, because what's this? Oh, let me take this off. Yeah, so you understand that there's a narrative. The law is one thing, but the situation on the ground is one thing. The ideas that are being fed into the minds of the abusive mothers, and then the ideas that are being fed into your head, they conflict, but they put you in a subservient position. Now, remember, don't just act on what I'm saying, because there's so much more to understand. This is just the introduction to how things work. It will take a while for you to grasp it. None of this is legal advice. It's just my opinions. But when you understand these narratives, you can start understanding why there is such a bias. And when you understand that we all contributed to it somehow, then you can start changing your life. And little by little, things may change. Let's hope so. But right now, what matters is that you and your children get the best outcome that you can get. So thank you so much for watching. I'm very grateful to you for spending your time here with me. I really hope that you get the best possible outcome and that you get to see your kids soon, because they deserve to see you and they deserve to spend time with you, and they need you and they love you. No matter what anybody tells you, the children will always love you and they always need you, even if they act otherwise. And you are a good father and you are a brave father, because it takes courage to face oneself, to learn from mistakes. And so we keep up the good fight. So thank you so much. And I'm going to see you next week. My name is John Paul from bravefathers.com.
bravefathers.com